Okay, let's start off with A minor because A minor is a relatively simple formula. So A minor is the first, the third, and the fifth notes in the A minor scale. So these are the notes of the A minor scale: A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And these are the scale degrees. That's whether you're playing the first, second, or third note in the scale, and so on. So I'm just going to circle the first note in the scale. That's A. Third note is C, and the fifth note is E. So we've got A, I'm just going to get that there. E, that's our fifth. A again, that's the first again. C is our minor third, and then E is the fifth again. And we end up with a chord that looks a bit like this, which is what most guitarists know as an A minor open chord. Okay, so this is just a guitar neck diagram with all the notes in the A minor scale plotted out. So you can use this diagram as well to help you kind of make your own chords. I'm just going to find one more example of A minor just to show you. So I'll do it, let's get A there, let's get E there, and then A again there. So you can get more than one note. I would say try and use A as the root note of the chord if it's an A minor kind of chord. But you don't have to, okay? We can do inversions, but I'm not going to explain what that is. Let's just, for now, stick with the root note as the name of the chord. So if it's A minor, A is the root note, the lowest note in the chord. If it's B minor, B is the lowest note in the chord, okay? And then we're going to get C there, E there, A there, and you end up with this shape, which most people will know as like an A minor kind of bar chord. So let's do A minor 7 next. Okay, so what is A minor 7? A minor 7 is the first, the third, the fifth, and the seventh note in the A minor scale. So the first is A, third is C, fifth is E, and then the seventh is G. So it's basically A minor with an added minor 7. Okay. Some people will describe this as the root note, or the first, a minor third, or a flat third, they're the same thing, a perfect fifth, and then a minor 7th or a flat 7th. Okay. But I like just describing it as it's the first, third, and fifth, and 7th in a minor scale. Okay. So first is there, fifth is there. Let's get our minor 7th there, our minor third there, and then our fifth there, and you end up with this version of A minor 7. So like I said before, you can play these in loads of different ways. I'm just going to give you one or two examples, maybe just one example of each. I'll give you another example of A minor 7. So you don't actually need the fifth, really. Okay, you could do it without the fifth. So we could get A, we could get G there, and then we could get C there and ignore E completely. And you'd end up with a chord that looks like this. Okay. However, if you wanted the fifth, you could get it here, because that's E, so we can get that. And if you wanted the first again, you could get it there, because that's A. Okay. Depends on what you're playing, what kind of sound you want. So let's get rid of all that, and let's look at the next one, which is A minor 9. So A minor 9 is the first, the third, the fifth, the seventh, and the ninth of the A minor scale. So let's find these notes here. So we've got A, C, E, G, and then B. Okay. So let's do it. I'll get A there, I'll get E there, G there, C there, E there, and then B there. And then we have this A minor 9 kind of bar chord shape. You can move these chords about as well. So if you wanted to do B minor 9, you could just move this shape 2 frets higher. So you'd start on this B here and do the chord like in this area. And you could just move it about the guitar neck. So I actually think it's quite a good idea to learn these formulas in the key of A minor if you're doing minor chords, because the key of A minor doesn't have any sharps or flats. That's why I've not written G sharp here or A sharp here. And then if you accidentally play a sharp note, and you know that you're playing a sharp note, you'll know that it's not right, if that makes sense, okay? There will be some A minor chords that do have sharp notes in, which we'll kind of look at later on in the video. So that's A minor 9. Let's just find one more way of getting it. So, let's call that back in. So like I said before, you don't need the fifth. So I could get A there, C there, G there, B there, and just do it like this without the E note. Okay, and that'll be fret 10 there, and cross off them. But if you wanted to, you could still get E there. Might be a little bit trickier. And then it would look kind of like this. So, it's up to you. Get them in different places. Let's do a different one. So the next one we're going to do is A minor add 9. So A minor add 9 is exactly what it sounds like. It's A minor with an added ninth. Do that here. So that's 1, 3, 5. That's A minor. Skip the 7th. Do the 9th. So we've got A, C, E, B. Okay. So how am I going to do this? Let's have a look. I'm going to get A here just to make things easy. So it's the other good thing about A minor open chords. So these are all the notes of A minor. And A is an open note. So is B. So's D. So's E. And so's G. So we've got quite a lot of open notes that we can use with the chords. And I'm going to do this. Let's get A there, C there, E there, and then B there. And that's A minor add 9. So there's our A note. This is confusing me now. There's our A note again. C there, E there. I don't know why I've done it like that. And then B there. So that could be a bar as well. Okay. And that is fret 5. So that's A minor add 9. It's A minor with an added 9th. Okay, which is the next one? Let's do A minor 11. Okay, this is where it gets confusing, probably for me. So A minor 11 is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11, okay? So that would be A, C, E, G, B, and D, okay? How am I going to get this? Let's do it there. Let's get A there, C there, G there, B there. I'm going to sacrifice the 5th. Let's not get the 5th, which is E. We don't really need it. And then I'm going to get D there, and then we end up with a shape kind of like this. Okay. Now the confusing thing about this is you get a lot of different chords that are very similar, but some people will call them A minor 11, and some people won't. Okay. So sometimes if you get rid of the 9th, people will still call it A minor 11. And that's a bit confusing, just going with or without the 9th. I can't think of what else it would be called. Maybe you could call it A minor 7 add 11 instead, if it doesn't have the 9th. But then I always think, okay, what about if it has the 9th, but then it doesn't have the 7th? What are you going to call it? Are you going to call it A minor add 9 add 11? Maybe you could do, okay? But from what I've read, it really doesn't matter if it has this 9th or not, okay? So that's confusing, and that's just the start. It's going to get more confusing, okay? So let's get rid of that. We'll do an easy one. Let's do A minor add 11. That's exactly what you probably think it would be. That is 1, 3, 5, and then 11. Okay, 1, 3, 5, and then 11. So that's just A minor with a D note. So let's get A there again, C there, D there, and then E there. That's might not be the easiest chord to play, and it would look kind of like that. And that's A minor add 11. A minor with an added 11th. Okay? So, what's the next one? This is where it really does start to get confusing. Okay, so A minor 6. I apologize if this confuses you. It confuses me when I'm talking about it. Okay? A minor 6. So before we did A minor 7, which was A, C, E, and then the 7th note in the minor scale. Logically, you would think, therefore, A minor 6 is A, C, E, and then this minor 6 here, which would be F. But it's not, okay? A minor 6, for whatever reason, is the first, the third, the fifth notes in the A minor scale with the sixth note in the A major scale. So it would be A, it would be E, A again, G there, and then, sorry, that was C. And then you would get F sharp instead of F, and it would look like this. Isn't that stupid? A minor 6 is stupid. Okay, so I'm not even going to write the formula because it's just confusing. It's like, I'll just explain it again. It's like A minor with an added major 6, which begs the question, what chord would you get if you got F? Okay, so you'd get A, C, E, and then F. What is that? Well, I'm just going to do that a little bit bigger so we can cover that note. That would be A minor add 13. Okay. Why? I don't know. I'm sorry. I didn't make up these rules. Someone else did, and it would look kind of like that. Okay. Some of these chord names really don't matter. You could just say, I'm playing A minor and I'm doing it with F. Okay. Like I'm doing F here. But yeah, that's why it gets kind of confusing, I guess, because the rules aren't always consistent. There's some other rules when it comes to like sus chords and minor nines where that gets a bit confusing as well. Because when it's a minor ninth, let's say, which would be like that, or a minor add 9, so that's minor add 9, we would call it the ninth, okay? A minor add 9, not A minor add 2. But when it's a sus chord without this note here, it would be A, B there, E there, and we would call it A sus 2. Okay, so A sus 2 would be the first, the second, and then the fifth in either the A minor scale or the A major scale. It doesn't matter, they're both including the same notes, and A sus 2 would kind of look, you might have played it before, like that. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I want to make a separate video on sus chords. So you could do what we've done in this video with any minor scale if you wanted to find minor chords. So if you wanted to find B minor type chords, you could do this with the B minor scale, but you'd need to know the scale, the formula for the chords, and then where the B minor notes are on the neck, okay? So I hope you found this video useful. I do private lessons on Zoom if anyone's interested. I'll put a link in the description. But apart from that, thanks for watching.